All right, y'all, so I'm getting concerned. I'm getting concerned about Caitlin Clark's future with the Indiana Fever because it's not just that they're losing these games, it's the manner in which they're losing. It's the low shot attempts from Caitlin Clark. It's the low usage from Caitlin Clark. It's the having her in the corner, coming off these screens, getting the ball on the wing, and then her losing the basketball, keep getting the ball in these unfavorable positions. She is at her best when she's pushing it up the floor, coming off the screen with the Leah Boston. You're not even doing that anymore. It seems like the Indiana Fever aren't prioritizing Caitlin Clark's growth as a player, but what they're prioritizing is the system of basketball that Stephanie White has ran throughout the entirety of her career. She loves running a motion offense, and Caitlin Clark is not a player that plays within an offense. She is an offense. Caitlin Clark is more of a James Harden type. She's more of a Luka Doncic type. She's the type that you have to give the ball to and allow to do whatever she wants to, but Stephanie White is putting her in this box. There were so many plays where Ari McDonald would bring it up, and then Caitlin Clark would come off these screens that weren't even good screens. They weren't even good picks, and then you're seeing the Indiana Fever offense totally crash, or Caitlin Clark might not touch the ball until 9 seconds left in the shot clock because it's went through Ari McDonald, it's went through Sophie Cunningham, and then finally it goes to Caitlin Clark, and she has 9 seconds to actually make a shot. Caitlin Clark is obviously the reason why everybody's watching the WNBA. She's the reason why all these fans are tuning in. She's the reason why I'm here. All of you guys are here. We are here to see Caitlin Clark cook. Right now, she's not cooking, and it's not looking like she's going to be able to cook. It's seeming like they are trying to turn Caitlin Clark into a player that she is not. People keep saying, oh, why isn't Caitlin Clark doing the things she was doing in Iowa? Well, guess what? In Iowa, she was allowed to play free. In Iowa, she was the system. Now she is playing under a Stephanie White system that really is at the detriment of Caitlin Clark. I do not think she had a bad game against the Valkyries. I do not think Caitlin Clark was the reason why the Valkyries lost this game. I also do think the Fever could have won this game if Kelsey Mitchell would have made some more shots, if Aaliyah Boston would have actually showed up, and the Indiana Fever would have adjusted. The point is not about winning or losing the game. The point is about the future of Caitlin Clark with this Fever team. I do not think she can grow with the team where she's forced to do what she doesn't like to do. She wants the ball in her hands, and for some reason, she's always playing off ball. For some reason, she's always coming off these fake screens where there's no real screen being set. If you're going to play somebody off ball and you want them to come off these Steph Curry type screens, then you actually have to have them set good screens for that player. But Caitlin Clark is not getting any real good screens. We're going to look at it in this video. The screens suck. As Fever fans, we did not sign up for Caitlin Clark to be iced out and Caitlin Clark to not be able to play like she played in Iowa. The reason she was doing what she did in Iowa is because she was given the license to play her game. Now she's playing in the WNBA under Stephanie White, and Stephanie White is not really allowing Caitlin Clark to play her game. Stephanie White has her own system, and Caitlin Clark is just supposed to fit in and be a part of it. Now, if you actually watch the game, the Indiana Fever did start off very strong. They went up 23-14 in that first quarter, and it looked like they had everything under control. But the reason they were able to play so well early on was because Caitlin Clark was free to do what she wanted to do early in the game. You see this first play, her getting the rebound, pushing up the floor, hitting the step back mid-range jump shot. This was clean. She had a few missed mid-range jump shots in this game, but the reason I pointed out this play was because Caitlin Clark off a rebound is able to push the pace. The ball is in her hands, and she's going to work. She's going one-on-one. That's her game. Caitlin Clark is a one-on-one player. Every single highlight you bring up of Caitlin Clark is a highlight of her going one-on-one. She's a one-on-one player at the top of the key. She scores the most off of her own dribble. She's not a shooting guard. She's not a combo guard. She is a point guard. And look at this next play. Caitlin Clark is bringing it up the court. She steps back, hits this crazy three-point jump shot. This was clean. This got us excited in the live watch party. This is why we watch Caitlin Clark. She doesn't need a screen. She doesn't need to come off ball. She does contribute in that way if that's what you are asking her to do. She can do it, but that's not Caitlin Clark. Iowa Caitlin Clark is this Caitlin Clark, off the dribble Caitlin Clark. You cannot get Caitlin Clark if you don't allow her to do this. We saw it here in the first quarter, but she only ended up with 12 shots, and a lot of those were push shots in the third quarter when the Fever were down like 15 points. You didn't get to see her going off the dribble shooting shots like this because you had her playing in the corner. And so when she ends up getting the ball on these plays where Ari McDonald brings it up the court, 10 seconds on the shot clock has already passed. She gets it and she has 12 seconds to do something. They blitz her, and then off the blitz she passes it, and now it's a shot clock violation because you didn't let her start with the basketball. Caitlin Clark is not Steph Curry. Caitlin Clark cannot shoot the ball like Steph Curry, and she also does not get screens set for her like Steph Curry gets screens set for him. You cannot expect Caitlin Clark to score 30 points by coming off these whack screens that aren't even really screens and pulling these three-point jump shots. She has to have the ball in her hands. She's more of a Luka Doncic type than she's a Steph Curry type. Give her the ball, let her go ISO. And look at this next one. It's Caitlin Clark bringing it up the court, getting down low, and after the defense collapses, she makes the right pass to Natasha, easy layup. This is beautiful basketball, but you didn't see that in this game. You saw it early on, but after this, it's none of it. For some reason, Caitlin Clark Clark ends up getting iced out. She's not even touching the ball. She's not even bringing it up the court. It's all Ari McDonald. It's all Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark sitting in the corner getting it off these crazy, stupid pin downs. This is what works. This is her game. You have to give her the ball and allow her to go to work. If they're going to double her, you just make the right pass. It's a very simple game, but for some reason, we're complicating it. For some reason, we're not going to what works. For some reason, we're not allowing Caitlin Clark to get up 25 shots in a game. And it's like, yes, it is going to be at the detriment of other players, but no one's thinking of other players when Luka Doncic shoots the ball 25 times. Nobody's thinking of other players when James Harden shoots the ball 25 times. That's because those are the kind of players that they are. The offense revolves around them, and if you want to get the best out of them and give yourself the best chance to win with that player, you have to focus on them and allow everything else to revolve around them. With Caitlin Clark, it's the same way. You have to allow her to do her thing, and everything will revolve around her. If she needs to shoot 25 shots in a game, that's cool, but let her get those shots up because that's her game. And after this stretch, Steph White does put Caitlin Clark on the bench, but they did say they wanted to play Caitlin Clark in 3 to 4 minute bursts throughout the entirety of the game, so I don't think it was her trying to ice Caitlin Clark out. It was just after the 3-4 minutes they had to put her on the bench. But some things happen. The Indiana Fever lose their 9-point lead they had in the first quarter. It was atrocious watching this, and then I want you to see what's happening when she's back in the game. This play is a representation of everything that is going on with this Indiana Fever team. It's Ari McDonald bringing the ball up the court. Now, I don't have any problems with Ari McDonald. She is a good player, but you cannot prioritize Ari McDonald over Caitlin Clark. Are you serious? You're not going to take away from Caitlin Clark to give Ari McDonald her opportunities, right? Well, you got her bringing the ball up the court, and what is Caitlin Clark doing? She's sitting off in the corner, and she comes around and get it off this screen, and when she gets it, she's in traffic, and she ends up turning the ball over. Now, Caitlin Clark's got to do a better job of taking care of the ball, especially off the dribble. She's not throwing bad passes. She's just losing the basketball off the dribble, but a lot of the reason why this is happening is because you give her the ball in unfavorable positions. Why would Caitlin Clark want to get the ball at that point in the play? Caitlin Clark is not the kind of player to get the ball down low and work in that area. She's going to get it right there, and then she's going to bring it back out to the three-point line, and by the time she gets there, it's going to be 8 seconds left on the shot clock. That is exactly what Caitlin Clark would do because she does it all the freaking time. She doesn't want the ball right there, but for some reason, we keep feeding her the ball in positions where she does not need the basketball. Give her the ball at the top of the key. Let her bring the ball up the court instead of Ari McDonald. Let Ari McDonald be a spacer. Let Ari McDonald be doing what Caitlin Clark is doing on this play, so that way Caitlin can be doing what she likes to do. And y'all, this is more of what I am talking about. This is not what anybody wants to see. Is Caitlin Clark coming off this pin down, and this pin down doesn't even work. They set a screen for Caitlin Clark that doesn't even hit. Man, this is a sucky screen. They said trash screens first, so you're going to play her off ball, put her in a Steph Curry role when she's not Steph Curry, but you won't even give her a Kevon Looney type screen. You won't give her a Draymond Green type screen, so she's not even going to get open. She's not even going to get free. And so then she ends up having to pass the ball down into Michaela Timpson, and the time is running out, so Michaela Timpson ends up shooting this bull crap. Like, this is all messy. This could have been prevented if Caitlin Clark is the one with the ball in her hands to start off the play, and Caitlin Clark is going to a high ball screen or no screen, just getting to her own shot or off the double team passing the ball. That's all you have to do with Caitlin Clark. It's a very simple game. And I could go on and on about the offense, but we should actually talk about the defense in this game as well, because a lot of the reason why the Indiana Fever aren't able to get out in transition, the reason they're not able to run, is because they're not getting stops. They're allowing the other team to score every single possession, and if you don't create defensive rebounds from which you can get out in transition, then you cannot play fast. Somehow, some way, Ari McDonald ends up guarding Timmy Fag-Benley on the post on this play. The Fever should have never even been in this situation, but look at Aaliyah Boston having to come over and double team on the post. Why would you ever want to be double teaming on the post? That's not a good thing, because off of this, look at what happens on the perimeter. The Indiana Fever are switching. They're trying to rotate to everybody, but they end up leaving the corner player wide open because you're short one player, because you're doubling on the post, and that's a wide open three for the Valkyries. They're going to drill that. That's going to get them into a groove, and once they started hitting these shots, y'all, the Valkyries didn't miss. Like, we could talk about the Fever all day. We could complain, but the Valkyries can hoop. They are young, they are physical, and they can shoot the peel off the ball. There's nothing you can do when this team gets into a groove, so you cannot be giving them open shots to allow them to start feeling it. And on offense, aside from Caitlin Clark, you'll see the Indiana Fever having problems getting into the paint. One thing you will have noticed if you watch this game was that the Indiana Fever were not able to get anything in the paint against the Valkyries. The Valkyries had amazing interior defense. You cannot get anything down there. That totally messed up the Fever, and it comes back to coaching, because it's like, as a coach, you're a strategist off the court. Your goal is to be able to inform your team of the problem and how to get past it. The problem problem in this game was that the Valkyries have too much size for the Fever, so the Fever aren't able to do what they like to do the most, which is get points in the paint. Cool. But you as a team should be able to adjust and start shooting shots on the perimeter. For some reason, though, the Fever never went away from going into the paint. Even though it was this clogged up, they continue going into the paint instead of starting to shoot more shots or get into the mid-range. You didn't see AB shooting any mid-range shots. You didn't see Kelsey Mitchell get into the mid-range. You didn't see any of these players shooting any jump shots during any of these stretches in the game where they were going down big time. Why is that? It's because this team does not adjust, and it starts with coaching. You can say the Indiana Fever players were sucky. You can say they just didn't make shots. You can say they had their own collapses, and that is very true. It does fall on the players, but it also falls on the coaches because you are a bad coach if you cannot direct your team to adjust. And y'all, I'm so confused with this defensive play from the Indiana Fever. Kelsey Mitchell has this player cutting back door, and the player loses Kelsey Mitchell, and Kelsey Mitchell seems content with that. So that's giving me the idea that they're playing in a zone, and Kelsey Mitchell is supposed to be in that position. And I want you guys to think about that. I want you to look at how small Kelsey Mitchell is down there and realize the fact that she's playing in a zone where a big man should be, and Aaliyah Boston is up helping. I don't even know what's happening here. I don't even know what they're going on about, but Kelsey Mitchell being in that position totally destroys them defensively in this play. Since Kelsey left Kate Martin, Sophie Cunningham has two players to focus on down there on the low post, and when that Valkyrie player gets down low, Sophie can't pick. That leaves the wing player open, and she drills the three-point jump shot. What can you do? And look at this next one. Off a pick and roll, the Valkyrie player just drives by Aaliyah Boston. There's not even a real contest here. Aaliyah Boston just isn't even trying defensively, but can you really blame her? She's a big man. She's always going to get blown by. So why is she playing up so high? Why is she helping up so far off the pick and roll? Drop down and play in a drop coverage. Why do these Fever bigs never be caught in a drop coverage? They're always playing up. They're never playing defense at the free throw line. I don't even know why. And look at this next play. Caitlin Clark is getting the ball at about the 13-second mark in the shot clock. 10 seconds have passed. Caitlin Clark has not been able to do her thing. And when she gets it, she doesn't even dribble. She just into her shooting motion, and she does miss it. She is a player that can be counted on to make these kinds of shots, but these are not her specialty. Her specialty is off the dribble, getting to her spot. It's not off assist. She is leading the WNBA when it comes to shooting off the dribble. She has the most points off her own dribble. She's not a player who's shooting it off the catch. She's not hitting shots off assist. So why are we trying to get her the ball in these positions to play this Steph Curry type game, this Kyle Korver, Reggie Miller type game? That's not her. And look at how the Indiana Fever start off the third quarter. Caitlin Clark is off in the corner. She doesn't touch it to the 13-second mark in the shot clock. And she does end up turning the ball over here. Once again, she can be a lot better when it comes to taking care of the basketball off the dribble. I don't know why she's always losing it, but you're putting her in unpreferable situations. Why are you giving her the ball on the wing with 12 seconds? She doesn't even have anything to do here. And you got her running right into defensive attention. Caitlin Clark wants it at the top of the key. Give her a pick and roll with Aaliyah Boston and let her go to work off that. Why are you giving her the ball on the wing? It doesn't make any sense. And look at what's happening on the other end. Why the Indiana Fever are collapsing offensively. The Valkyries can't miss. Kate Martin is pulling it from the freaking logo here, and she's drilling it. What can you do about that? If you give the Valkyries an inch, they are going to go a mile. Literally, the Indiana Fever, after this point in the game, do fight back. They cut it to a 5-point game, but once again, the Indiana Fever started slacking, and after they cut the lead to 5, Stephanie White puts Caitlin Clark on the bench. And obviously, I understand it's 3 to 4 minutes burst, so I can't be super mad about that, but I am kind of mad about that because they had the momentum, and then it goes all the way. And in a blink of an eye, the Indiana Fever are down 20 points. Like, that's how this goes with this Valkyries team. They are a heck of a good team. You got to give them props. Shout out to the Bay Area. I know they're excited right now. I'm a Steph Curry fan, so I do watch all the Dubs games. I know who the Bay Area fans are. I am a Bay Area fan, so I do have to give it to these Valkyries. I am very excited to see their growth as a team. They are very good, but this Indiana Fever team sucks. And that's actually where I'm going to end off the breakdown of this film, because I'm not going throughout the entirety of this game. The entirety of the game really doesn't even matter. I think the main thing you need to walk away with from this video is understanding that Caitlin Clark is not playing her game right now. She's not doing what she likes to do on the court, which is a big reason why she's not putting up the numbers that you would expect her to put up in her second season. Do I think we will get past this point? Do I think there will be a semi-adjustment in this season? Yes, I do think we're going to get past this. I do think Caitlin Clark is going to get back to the 20-25 point games with 10 assists, 10 rebounds. We're going to get there again, and I do think it will be this season under Stephanie White. But I do still think that the Indiana Fever need a new coach, because Caitlin Clark will never be fully unlocked. She would never be able to do what she really did in Iowa if she's under a coach like Stephanie White, because even when she gets to that point where she's semi-unlocked this season, season, I still think it's going to be very tough for her to maintain because they're always going to be putting her in these positions where she's not at her best. She's at her best when she has it at the top of the key going one-on-one. She's at her best when she's coming off a screen, doing a pick and roll with the Leah boss, and off the double team, she kicks it down. Like, that's where she's at her best. She's not at her best when she's doing this, and so I want to see that change. I am glad she's back. The game was fun for moments. The Indiana Fever had their stretches, but this was a sloppy, ugly game. It didn't have everything to do with Caitlin Clark, but she did have one of the better plus minuses on the team, and she didn't get up enough shots in this game, so that's what I wanted to focus on in this video. But I'm done talking. I'm done ranting. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I certainly did, man. Y'all take it easy. Peace out.